Hello beautiful people and welcome back to the channel. So you guys asked me to make a fresh video about the Encirclement buff simply because we have the shark toy and we also have the scorpion toy added to the game. And that's exactly what we're gonna do in this video. For this video, we're gonna use specifically the plane setup, but of course this will work for tanks and for Navy exactly in the same way. So what is the Encirclement buff? That's a research you find in your research tree and it's actually gonna give you 20% extra damage if you use two different unit type, and it's gonna give you 30% damage reduction on top if you're using three different type of units. So I will explain you how to set up your march in order to have the Encirclement buff. Now, just like in the old video, we have three cases. Case number one is how do you get your Encirclement when you defend your base. Case number two is how do you get the Encirclement if you're joining a rally or actually reinforcing a building. And the case number three, which is actually the difference between this new video and the old video, because we're gonna have to take in consideration the shark and the scorpion toy. So for case number one and case number two, you're actually going to use the same formation when you defending your base or when you join a rally or you actually send your march to a building in order to reinforce it. So you see me using only planes in this case, but I was still going to get the enforcement buff full, both of them, the 20% extra damage and the 30% damage decrease. I will have that active. Now let's explain why. In the case of you defending your base, the system will take in consideration that you have at least one tank, at least one navy in your base. Therefore, you're going to have the full buff active. So you can send the march exactly like this. In the second case, in which you are joining a rally or reinforcing a building, yes, you're going to use the same setup, because there's always going to be somebody in that rally or somebody in that building which is going to have a tank march or you're going to have a navy march. Therefore, everybody has the full Encirclement buff. Now, let's explain the case number three, which is slightly bit more complicated. In 1 versus 1 situation, in cases in which you attack directly somebody or you're setting your march in the war zone and you're getting attacked or you're attacking somebody, you would like to have the Encirclement buff, but in this case you have to send a slightly different formation, and let's explain why. Now is exactly the time to take also in consideration the shark or the scorpion formation. So let's have a look at the march in order for you to understand properly. Now you see here Maximo, Shinji, and Hazel. Now granted, Shinji is an extremely great universal hero. Granted, you can also use Maximo on tanks or on navy. Of course, you don't have the damage reduction on the first three slots. Of course, you're not going to have the burn, but he's still going to hit pretty hard. And of course, in case of Hazel, this hero is sadly specifically only for the planes. But on top of this, these three heroes have specific plane skills, which are the damage decrease and the extra damage. So that's why we have to pay attention how we set up the march. So in this case, for us using the plane setup, you want to have slots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and slot number 7 being planes. Also, the reinforcements from the shark formation has to be also planes. On top of this, you have to hit as hard as possible, as fast as possible. Meaning, ideally, you want to see your heroes proc as soon as possible from slots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. By the time you're gonna reach the chance to hit from slot number 7, 8, and 9, you're gonna have less units on those slots. Therefore, even a proc from your hero will gonna do slightly less damage. That's why exactly we're gonna position the Encircle units on slot number 7 and on slot number 9. Now, which unit should I put on slot number 7? Which unit should I put on slot number 9? Taking in consideration this is a plane setup. Now, most likely, when your opponent is going to see this setup, they're going to try to hit you with the tanks. That's why I'm going to put on slot number 7 a navy in order to have the suppress on my side. And the slot number 9, we're going to put a tank. Now, please pay attention because now I'm going to give you a very important tip. Now, if you analyze the battles reports like I do, meaning I'm always watching the battle animation, the Encirclement buff, which is the 20% extra damage and the 30% extra damage reduction, this buff is active at the beginning and you can see it in your stats, but it doesn't mean that this buff, both of them, will be active till the end of the battle. Because as soon as I lose one of these slots, which means slots number 7 or slot number 9, I'm gonna lose the 30% damage reduction. And as soon as I lost both these slots, slot 7 and slots 9, I'm gonna lose everything, the whole encirclement buff, which is also the 20% extra damage. This is also the reason, assuming you're using the shark formation, which is the strongest formation, if you use that and add as reinforcement, for example, tanks in this case, when the tanks will gonna jump on the slot number 7, this will not reactivate the 20% extra damage of the encirclement. So yes, beautiful people, this is pretty much everything now up to date. This is exactly how the encirclement works. This is exactly the 3 cases. If you have questions, you guys know where the comments are. Don't forget to support the channel. Don't forget to hit a like. Maybe check if you're subscribed or not. That will help me massively. And yes, don't forget to see me in the next episode.